Flame on! How's everybody doing tonight? I'm here with my special guest, Nick Lenz. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good.
And today, as you all know, we're going to catch up on Board Tochibu Vortex chapters 18, 19, and 20. I know it says 19 and 20 in the title, but hey, please bear with us.
Yeah, it's been a while because we've both been busy.
That is so true, so true. Now, Nick, do you
I
want
think,
to
I
do?
think, I think I think last time we did a collab was for the spoiler review for Captain America: Brave New World.
Yep,
Actually, it was the solicits.
yep. That was just a
One
few days
actually that actually fell asleep during.
ago.
I think it was. Yeah, I was trying. Kept drinking stuff to keep me awake, but nope, couldn't keep me awake for it. I know it's kind of embarrassing me to fall asleep during. It was because basically I was bored. It was because I was getting kind of sleepy. That was simply the reason for it.
One of those days, man. It's all good. It's all good.
Yep.
One of those days.
Yep.
But yeah, for the in case you haven't noticed us before, this is our usually this time where we already did where we just recap the chapter and give our opinions about it. This one's going to be a little shorter this time around due to time. But with all that being said, Nick, where you want to start?
Let's start with chapter 18. Only babble in your sleep. Which the cover image is the girl who's based on Moegi. Yeah, it's her. It's the one who. Yeah, and we started with Sasumri putting a pin code in, and then we pick up. I think this is when we have Kawaki pinning. I think was his name Mondo. I think his name is the scientist they brought out from Kara. The one who was the guy who turned Kawaki into a scientific ninja tool.
Okay.
He's famous to the one who activated his little the Akasusi data thing in his body. He does question about that, but he said there was a reason. And then we have the title, Only Babble Your Sleep, and that apparently knocks him out. Yes. It's kind of like what he had with Delta. Yeah, Cold War put her to sleep, and that's what he did. And now we have putting Kawaki to sleep. And he's like, yeah, pick a time with Simri. Yeah, let me move him. And then we cut to Mitsuke, Sadara, Kagra, and Konohamaru with Shiki's team. Well, they're basically just chatting up with the Okatsuki. And then, of course, basically, we have the one based on Moegi, where she is blushing like crazy in front of Konohamaru. Where it's like she's in love with him. It's like she's embarrassed to be near him. Where she's got her hands in her face. It's like, I don't know if the writer based this impression of her on when Hinata was younger, because she did the same thing whenever she saw Naruto. But sometimes when she saw Naruto, she passed out. Or like that one time where he's like Spider-Man heads up in her face, and then she just collapses. Remember that? It was one of the filler episodes. It was the one where they looked for that bug and looked for Sasuke, and it failed due to Naruto farting on it.
Oh, I remember.
It's one of those Naruto Hinata moments that no people talk about the Naruto Hinata moments, like because some people are so obsessed with Naruto being with Sakura because they hate Boruto.
Oh, okay. And what's up, Najee? How you doing tonight? But okay, as for that one, look, can we just not do the shipping right now? We just got to the time skip. They're roughly adolescent now, probably 15 going on 16 plus. It's too early for that kind of thing.
But in the case of Konohamaru, it's fine because he's an adult.
True. But I just know
almost 30, isn't he?
Well, okay. The majority of the Konoha 11 are in their early to mid 30s, and Konohamaru is roughly 4 years younger than everyone. I'd say he's about 28, 29, give or take.
because I remember in the part 1 he was still a student at Ninja Academy, and then post time skip he graduated, and of course he had the what Nards referred to as the closet pervert is his teacher for his team.
Ibisu.
Yes, which by the way he is not in he's not in Boruto. You notice that?
No, he is not.
A lot of characters from Naruto are not there. Like he was one of them. Like in the case of that team, Konohama was featured prominently in Boruto. Moegi, a lot of the time, she does practically nothing except just stand there. The only thing noteworthy she did, she stopped the pillar in the awful Boruto episode.
Moegi also comes across as a Sakura 2.0, where she becomes an extension of the same, I don't know the exact term, but the same gag where someone does something inappropriate or stupid, and you resort to comedic violence.
And she only punched Konohama once.
Yeah, in the manga, it was once. For Sakura, over the course of part 1 and 2 in the manga version, it was only a couple of times. But the anime really dragged that gag into the ground.
Or like that one time when Naruto was away during the 3-tail arc, and off-screen Sakura beat the crap out of him. Despite the fact he was a tad bit more mature in part 2.
Just a bit.
He was less of an idiot in part 2 than he was in part 1.
Yeah. But I know Kishimoto is known for being a troll. So if there was some tension between Konohama and Moegi, he would have set that up. At least a little bit.
And Udon, what has he done? Let's see. I think he's the sensei for Dinky's team.
Yes.
And it was in one episode. Oh, his Sna is a jutsu. Okay.
Well, it's unique. Allegedly, but I will take that rumor with a grain of salt, Najee.
Yeah, I'm actually watching Dime. I just watched episode 12 today, which was quite interesting of an episode. That one, I like the fact that Dime actually expands upon current canon. Like it doesn't like wreck kind of thing related to Super, but it keeps things still canon with Super.
For all intents and purposes, it's pretty much standalone.
Yeah, but it still feels connected to the main timeline for Dragon Ball, because one good example of this is we actually figured out Supreme Kai's original name, and Goku at first calls him, and then she said, "Can I just call you Supreme Kai?" And he says, "That's fine." Which I point out, though, that was actually something that was because you remember in Super, he always calls him Supreme Kai, and this is basically them just making sure that stays intact.
I mean, honestly, it doesn't contradict anything, or at least the inconsistencies are relatively minor. Like, I'm not going to spoil its entirety because I already watched ahead via the sub, but some things you would be able to still connect to Super for the most part.
Yeah, and also the fact seeing one thing I don't think was ever mentioned Super at all. I don't think it was ever mentioned even in Dragon Ball Z. Because did you see the most recent episode 12?
Yes, I know what you're referring to.
Yeah, the whole thing with Vegeta doing a particular mode of Super Saiyan he never did the show.
Yeah, but that's just the type of person Vegeta is. Super Saiyan. Well, spoilers for Daima's English dub episode 12 if you hadn't already watched the sub. But basically, Vegeta turns.
It came out like 2 days ago, so some people have seen it, some people have not. We'll try our best not to spoil the whole episode, but this was actually spoiled online.
Yeah, if you didn't see this on social media, I commend you for avoiding spoilers up until this point, but I will give you a few seconds out of grace. Okay, time's up. Super Saiyan Vegeta goes Super Saiyan 3. Which
it was actually 2 because it wasn't like full long hair like normally is. I think that was 2.
I've heard a lot of people claim it was 3, but regardless,
it looked like 2. Because I've seen 3 because you see Goku is the extremely long hair.
Okay. Agree to disagree. Okay.
Yeah.
But based on what's claimed, why didn't Vegeta use this against Beerus? He was all mad and pissed off about Bulma. One, you going 3, at least in concept, would have been a waste of energy and stamina, and Beerus was at a completely different level. Going 3 wouldn't have, it would have been a cool moment and a pain in the neck for the animators, especially who were actually on the production team at that time. But from a battle scenario standpoint, it wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have made a difference whether Vegeta went 3 or not in that situation. It was just It just wouldn't have made a difference.
And also the fact that Sirius Hill Supreme Kai had siblings.
That is true.
And of course, we have a character in the series who is an original character voiced by Aaron Dusmook, which, and if you know him as the voice of Senku from Dr. Stone.
Interesting. But all I will say about Goma is that he kind of reminds me of Pilaf in a way. If he actually did end up becoming a viable threat, he does kind of remind me of Pilaf just a little bit.
Except he has one person technically on his side instead of two. And the whole thing of like saying, "Oh, his sister doesn't have a gender, so we can look at her as clearly a woman." I don't know if that's the animators doing the whole non-binary bullcrap in there at all.
No comment, but needless to say, let's get back on Blue Vortex.
Yes, and of course, basically, like we have, I don't remember her name, the one who's based on Moegi, Asuka Komahamu-chan, and because the fact she has a similar face to Moegi, despite the fact she has the Renegon in her eye, and it's like you read this chapter, it's like, are they implying that Moegi has a thing for Konohamaru?
I mean, it's possible.
Yes, and here comes Sadara in her punk outfit, and we have the guy who's got the same ability to Shiki with the Iron Sand thing, and they all here looking for Boruto. That's really the whole reason why they're out here looking for Boruto. And I'm like, and they just chat with him for a while, and of course the sand surrounds Yoma, the blonde girl from Shiki's team.
Okay.
Yeah, she's got a bit of punk look with her, and she has a lot more skin than she did pre-time skip. I know it's in the harp on the punk outfits, but like, couldn't I don't know wear normal clothes to be so punk? I mean, think about it, the only person who wears like decent clothing is probably Shikadai.
Wait, didn't we ever see Shikadai past chapter 4?
I don't think we have. It seems like all the girls had to be like, oh, let's have all the girls except for Himori, though she was a little bit of this. Let's have them show off a lot of skin. Like apparently because they're slightly older, let's have them show off lots of skin.
Again, no comment. It could be an aesthetic choice or Kishimoto referencing current fashion trends.
Yeah.
But that's neither here or there.
Yeah, in the case of the one I could tell here by looking at her that she's wearing something that women do. I have seen in some stuff I've seen where women do wear this thing with her underwear sticking out of the pants like that. You've seen that before, right?
No comment. One of these days, Nick, you're going to get me demonetized.
Yeah. All ninjas, of course, she has a little hand on the side. Fine, whatever. Everyone knows that. Like, here you have something. Quano says, bar to criminal. This stuff is not. Well, we're hunting him down. Why are you looking for him? Thorn bulbs. Because apparently they want to go after him because his knowledge of thorn bulbs. That was established, I think, in the previous chapter. And then Kabuki wakes up. And Armana's like, don't flip out. Let's have a civil talk. I do hear your point. Divine trees are divine threat. And I do see emerge to modify, the code thing in him. And it looks like we see inside of one of the tubes, we see, I think it's Delta. You see this little thing where he's like walking by, and I think it's like it's Delta. And she's asleep. Oh, it's not Delta. Even though it looks like her. How can we have a resurrect vessel? Like, are they saying this clone is his dead daughter? Looks like to me. Like, be a vessel for her. Oh, the karma thing, and
it's
like
possible.
Yeah. I mean, that was his objective joining Kara was to resurrect his daughter. And then he left them and joined the Hidden Leaf Village.
Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. Please
Yes,
continue.
if I revive your daughter, turn to be risky. I will kill with no exceptions. Unlikely event. So, they have a deal. Well, not can't accept your terms. Power him up, and they just chat about this for quite a while. This lasts for several pages. This lasts for like 4 or 5 pages, and we cut back to uh, it's like the girls like Konohamaru-chan, and like I call you that, and one person called her that, and then she referred to Moegi, and then she attacks him. It's to kill him, and of course, then we found there's a thorn bulb, and now then, let's see if they can fight. And Hilwork basically goes after it and tries to get it. It's like, and then Sakurai basically takes a kunai. Of course, she ends up going to her, and they have a slash. And then the chapter ends with the I don't know what this guy's name is. So he's on Chiki's team too. Brings
Ryu.
up yeah, where he just takes out a blade and says, "Oh, that's not fair." Like that's that chapter. Okay. Obviously, the most shocking thing was the girl who has looked like Moegi attacks Konohamaru. But one thing I did notice with this chapter, no Boruto. And chapter 19, Konohamaru-chan, which has Moegi on the cover. And then it looks like we have a flashback to when Shiki enchanted his sword with his iron sand.
Okay.
Yep. And then they start attacking each other in this weird sand duel. And of course, you have Sadara doing the fireball jutsu, which I'm trying to think. I don't remember she did this in the show. I think maybe she did it once or twice. But it's something she very rarely ever did. I can think of any time she ever used the fireball jutsu, which is a jutsu known for it's the Uchiha clan is over using it. And I think she knows Shidori post time skip as well. My guess is before time skip, her father I think her father may have taught her that before time skip happened.
Possibly.
But she never had to actually know how to use it because she's part of the clan. So it's her birthright, just like the Sharingan. We'll get to at the end of the next chapter. We'll get to that. So then we have Mitsuki summoning snakes. Snakes. Because he has power. He goes with Snake Sage mode. Something that pre-time skip, he was not allowed to show anybody. And yet post-time skip, he's able to show it no problem. And speaking of the person basically trying to use it, where the heck is Orochimaru? It is still alive. It's only been a few years. He may have jumped in their body again, knowing him. He was also never seen post-time skip. Kakashi.
That is true. He is not. Neither of them have been seen in a while.
Yeah, a lot of the senseis of the previous teams, they're not here. Like, as far as I can tell, they didn't die. At least Naruto and Naruto know who they are, but everyone else, like, Ano is still there. Everyone else is still there, but, like, what about their sensei who was around pretty much the whole time? Nope, not here. So, then we continue throwing sand about, and, of course, attacking Ryu. And then you have Sada using Chidori, which I think I did see her being taught this by Sasuke in the anime. Which, of course, that is not something for the clan. That was something that Kakashi knew, Chidori. Which he taught Sasuke that, and then Sasuke taught his daughter that. Yep. Just like how Kakashi taught Naruto the Rasengan. And also, he kind of helped out with developing the Rasengan Shuriken, the thing that uses a lot of chakra. which prior to Naruto using Sage Mode, I think he'll use it maybe once or twice. Otherwise, though, you become a ninja again. But the Sage Mode actually improved that. We actually can use it more than a couple times. He can use it maybe. I think the limit pre-time skip before Boruto, he used it like a handful of times. And by the time it comes this series, I think he can use it maybe at least 5 times, and then he has to stop. It's because his powers got weaker over time.
Possibly.
Yes. So, like, I just call you Kamehameha-chan. What's the big deal? And she uses her attacks her hate with her. I think it's her hair, but under a little hair thing. And basically, she's trying to strangle Konohamaru. And then we see Ada. Wow, this is something. Haven't seen her in like a dozen chapters.
True.
And she's witnessing this because, of course, she does. And then we see Jiraiya's clone and Boruto. Well, they're actually communicating with him. I think it was Kitsuke. I'm trying to know what the name of Jiraiya's clone is.
Kashin Koji, I believe.
Kashin Koji. Yeah. I still think if Naruto ever met this guy, he would think that he's probably Jiraiya. Just because he looks exactly like him.
And Jiraiya's original body was never found, so I wouldn't blame Naruto for thinking that.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, the one question the series has not answered yet. How did Amano get Jiraiya's DNA?
To be fair, Jiraiya was kind of a rogue scoundrel with any maiden he could find. I mean, it wouldn't be too hard to do. It wouldn't be too hard to find a sample. And
also, how is it that the various women he probably slept with over the years, and he never had any kids?
Well, that could be a Minato Namikaze situation where they would never acknowledge them as Jiraiya's kids for fear of being targeted.
But Jiraiya's long dead at this point. I'm sure that if he had kids, they'd probably come on and say they are his kids. I would say with the current technology in the series, they can prove the fact that they are his kids. And I'm sure the Henley Village probably has a copy of his DNA on file. I would think that they would, even though they weren't as advanced as they are currently, I would think they would keep a sample of his DNA on the
registry.
Yes, I'm sure they do, because I'm sure it's required. They had to submit a sample of the DNA when they became ninjas. Just probably for identifying bodies, maybe, or identifying potential relatives. So, and I'm sure it's probably in the hands of the Scientific Ninja Tool Lab, possibly in there, or probably in the village itself.
Or in Medical Corps, either one.
Yes. And I would think that Naruto, maybe he put little feelers on and say, it probably, because I'm sure maybe he probably didn't have time to do this. Maybe he sent one of the Akatsuki people, the Anbu, they went on little special missions to find out just in case if Jiraiya had any actual children. I'm sure he probably did. Probably told him off the books, tell nobody about this, and just keep it a secret. The only person he can tell about is him, maybe Tsunade. That's probably it. So I probably think keep Tsunade in because Jiraiya had think for her all that time, and these two never slept together. Never.
No, but Tsunade was very entrenched with Dan, and even if Jiraiya did survive the pain fight and got his wager date with her, he'd be chasing a ghost quite literally because he never would be Tsunade's ideal choice.
And also, when Dan died, he didn't make a move on her out of respect, which gotta praise him for that. Maybe love the woman, he's not gonna basically move on her when her lover just died. Because I don't think
Jiraiya had his faults, but he's not a rebounder.
And also, he knew that Tsunade probably alone not be with him. There's the times he can be a complete gentleman, and also the times he can be a notorious pervert. At that point, he's be a gentleman.
Not to mention, by the present day, the majority of the legendary signing are 55 to 60 years old. Or at least by the present day.
It's like he hasn't aged out. And that's due to like some jutsu. He naturally looked the same.
Yeah, Jiraiya took care of himself, and he had natural white hair. That is not gray. Jiraiya took care of himself for the most part.
Orochimaru, the only reason why he stayed the same because he kept hopping bodies. So Nanaki keeps herself her way she is because of a jutsu. The only person you can say is naturally the way they are is Jiraiya.
Pretty much.
And of the three, only one is confirmed dead, and that's Jiraiya. All right, Tavia. So
back to this. Now we're on chapter 19.
Yeah, and we're like a little over halfway. We're almost done with this chapter. So then we have some of the Orotsky clones. One look like Bug. We're standing in this black box, and it's talking about love. And then we have cut back to Boy gets copy. Still trying to change. They go, Konohamaru. And he's also talking about devouring him? Okay. Everybody's witnessing this somehow, at least. Somehow they could protect each other. Overcome, and then they continue the battle. And of course, Ryu looks like he's been knocked down, but nobody comes out of the sand, and then he unleashes the Claw Gnomes.
Claw Grimes, excuse me.
Yeah, he unleashes at least 2 or 3. There's many others, but Mitsuki's had to stop some of them. And some of them seem like shadow clones because they keep disappearing. At least they keep popping up more. It's like too many. And then we have, they're biting, and then they're biting Yu. But nothing's happened. I think they're biting her, but it's not piercing her skin. So she should be fine. Because I don't see blood there. So, and of course it gets sliced up. Lots more slice up action here. And the chapter ends with Boy gets copy say, let's now become one, Konohamaru-chan. And that's that chapter. Now moving on to chapter 20 of 2 Blue Vortex. Because of Love. And it's also the 100 chapter for Boruto. Which I guess everybody basically... I think this manga started publishing, what was it, like 2016, I think it was, it started?
2017, I believe, but I could be wrong. 2017.
Yeah, because they started publishing this, I believe it was before, before the series came out, the anime.
Uh-huh. No, the movie came out in 2015. The manga was released in 2017. Then the anime came out roughly within that year. I think it
was released here on DVD in like a week prior to the show coming out because I actually own a copy of it.
Okay.
So then, of course, Moe Copy is still trying to consume Konohamaru. Like they say, life. Like if you follow me, I'll die, and won't we able to talk like this again? And she's looking close to him, like. She's moving closer. I'm like, is she going to kiss him? Get her close there on the same panel?
Possibly.
It looks like he's moving, despite the fact that he's inside of the thing. And then we have Wind Style, Storm, Sandstorm, Blast that hand on Ryu. I think what I can tell anyways is that we have a 4-on-1 handicap match.
Pretty much.
We have 4 teenagers versus a copy of a tree.
Pretty much.
And Meats gets hit badly, but he's still fine. Looks like checkmate, my friends. Yeah, Sada, forget us. Figure yourselves. Let's do this. Let's keep Boruto. This I think that's not his last name. It's Uzumaki. Then with you. Tell him what Boruto is, don't you know? Oh, that's whatever you know. I think it's gonna be a trap. Sorry, but I won't tell a friend to save myself. I know you're into the share. We come back a flashback to Subaru's like, we may have taken Boruto's side out wordily, yet we know almost no critical info about him. But isn't that because of able to free like this? Yeah. So village. Yeah. Of course, Mitsuke's look like he's about to get his arm broken. Edwards is telling him to leave, but they're not leaving until they give info on Boruto. Konohamaru is slowly trying to get out of this hair, and she's crying. And then Moegi is crying. Yeah, she's crying. Misery. Now I finally say her name. Misery. Misery. You're shedding tears. I'm feeling sad. And then the rest of the trees just basically is like, so with this, don't say anything. And she has no idea what tears are, despite the fact they're coming from her eyes. Could you squeeze my hands? Join hands?
Say what you will about this dynamic, but there's a lot more tension going. It's an improvement compared to the Lemon arc, which technically was filler, but there was I don't even know what that arc even was, if I'm being honest.
I kind of wish basically she would have lost her memory. Because her romance with basically her attempted romance with Konohamaru felt very natural.
Yeah, wait, doesn't she sacrifice her memory at the end?
Yes. Now, Konohamaru still remembers her, but she doesn't remember him.
Okay.
And then we cut to a flashback briefly of Shikamaru. They want to be friends with them, and of course holding hands. And then he just basically just spouts 2 double Rasengans, blasting the thing open, betray them, and of course then she just giant Rasengan nearly consuming her. Konohamaru-chan because of love. And he breaks out of the thing after being there for like 2 straight chapters, and then Yuri gets stabbed right to the freaking gut by this sandstorm. Yudo! And of course, and then of course we have Sadara. Something shocking happens when the chapel gets it. So she's down. You'll probably subconsciously, of course, basically then it's like very seconds, basically someone died right in front of her. And then she activated a Sharingan. And then the chapter ends with the most shocking cliffhanger of the whole entire series so far. The sand goes off her, and it turns to a ball, it's like a galaxy thing, or black hole. And the chapter ends revealing Sadara has activated her Mariko Sharingan.
Now, I will say this. I appreciate the fact that Kishimoto took his time and didn't rush Sarada using her MS right away. So I do appreciate the payoff. But even if you factor that, the Ryu Matsubi fight was dragged out. This is practically a volume and a half.
Yeah, this is dragged out over the course of like 3 chapters. If this is weekly, this would be like 6 chapters.
Yeah, but like I said, but the payoff is there, but I just feel like you could have done more with the page space, all things considered.
Yeah, prior to this, we saw that she actually had the 3rd tier prior to this, because at first she had the 1 tier, and then eventually she developed the 2nd tier, and now she has 3rd tier, and then she has this. Something which her father probably fears the fact she got this thing.
Now, to my memory, she does achieve the 3rd tier in the events of a light novel. The 3rd Tomoe, she does achieve in the events of a light novel. It was just never adapted.
Yes, I remember she got the first one when she first met her father.
Yes, in the events of Gaiden. She got the 2nd one at least in the anime, it was in the Deepa fight. But in the manga, she just happened to have it by the time we got to Boro.
Yeah, there's no real explanation. What light novel was that? I may have missed that one, because the only light novel she was in that I've read was the one to feature her father briefly take over, being the substitute lead of the team while Konohamaru was on a different mission.
Yes, that was the one, I believe, where she achieves her 3rd tomo. She achieves her 3rd tomo in the events of that novel. I believe it's that one. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's that one.
And I still think that one should be adapted for the anime.
If you're not going to rush straight into the omnipotence arc right away and do flashbacks or restructure some things, then I would definitely.
Nonoki, because at the time when it came out, basically he was still alive, but currently he's dead. So the only way you can adapt that one, you can have his granddaughter just remembering that, or maybe even because focus on Shikamaru, that one, you can have Shikamaru just remembering it. It's like, oh, I remember this happening. That's the only way you could have that one as a flashback.
Yeah,
That's the only way you have a flashback. Everything else has a kind of set present day.
yeah, because it does take place like right before the Mitsuki retrieval arc, like right before it.
Yes, and I would also adapt the Kakashi one. Give that one a full adaptation because it was like a portion of the first chapter, and that was it.
Now the Shinden trilogy is pretty solid for the most part. I will not refute that. The Shinden trilogy is pretty solid, but you got a little bit of in the Sasuke Shinden, or at least you got reference to it in the Sasuke Shinden episodes. It wasn't a focal point by any means, but at least you got something.
Yes, and we can both agree on this. The ending was rushed.
I agree. Oh, I agree.
I would suggest one thing to do as an apology for that episode when they come back. Do what ReZero did with season 1. Do a director's cut and basically add more stuff to that. Make it longer than 23 minutes. Make it like 45 minutes or an hour.
A full OVA special for the final battle of the Sasuke Shinden novel. No, yes. Sasuke Resident, excuse me.
Yeah, I was just doing that because ReZero did that with season 1 because they decided to put more material into the season. There's a lot of our series that need it, the Neil's idea of director's cuts, but ReZero is the only one I've ever heard of where you have a whole season got a director's cut. No other anime I've ever seen that gets that because of Freya, one anime I've seen, people suggested that's first season needs director's cut because it's way too much cut from that first season. There were others. But as far as I can tell, no studios ever attempted besides White Fox.
A lot of those added, at least with other animes I've seen, they just save it for the movie recap, like you're in between seasons production-wise. So you kind of use the theatrical version, or at least your first theatrical version, as a recap of the season itself with those added scenes. So they get some series like Overlord, for example, get around with it by doing it that way.
They technically did 2 recap movies, and then there was the original movie they did that came out last year, Sacred Kingdom, which was an adaptation of 2 books.
Volumes 16 and 17, I believe.
13. It was 12 and 13.
12 and 13. Okay, thank you.
Which they, I remember from reading the books. Despite the movie being 2 hours, they did pretty much get everything in. They kept everything important from the 2 books in, except that they just really trimmed down Albedo's scene. That she had very little to do in that particular story, because most of it was just focused on Ainz. And for some reason, the dub decided to go with her Yin Press translation name, the android girl.
Mm.
They went with a different name for her. That's something that's not her name. I mentioned this to anime. The guy who does that Balls Deep was he's done breakdowns, anime stuff.
Anime Balls Deep. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, where he basically reveals stuff that was cut from the anime. I kind of do that with my stuff, where some of the anime I review, I basically look up and see what was cut. Basically, like he will bring up stuff like some I completely forgot about, like during the end of season 2 for ReZero, the character Elsa, she's an assassin in the show. She got killed, and then before they had Subaru get to where Beatrice is, he ran into her again and said she was already dead because Elsa became a zombie because of her ability. And they cut this out of the anime. I'm like, that would have been something to see. Nope. Fire. Then we get to Beatrice. No, the season was adapted really well, except that scene should have been kept in. And I've heard that we are getting a season 4 of that one. Don't know the release date for that one yet, but I'm glad that we didn't wait 4 years for an announcement for season 4.
Well, that's good. That went ahead and gone ahead and confirmed that. Sorry, folks, I'm kind of with family at the moment. But
they also confirmed Konosuba season 4.
Now Konosuba
it's a quality anime to watch. I love the voice. I love the English dub for the show. It's just a lot of fun.
It's an acquired
parody.
It's an acquired taste, but it's worth a few laughs. Let us know if you actually want us to do an anime blaze on Konosuba.
And it's only 3 seasons, and like there's also 2 OVAs, and the one coming up next month, and a movie. That's all I got, which is not bad. And
Yeah.
plus, seasons are not long.
About
Like
12 episodes, if that. About 12.
no, first seasons are 10 episodes apiece. Season 3 was like 11 episodes.
Yeah, we could binge for the whole thing in a weekend.
Yeah, a lot quicker than like Overlord. Well, actually, Overlord was like 13 episodes each season.
Yeah. It went too. Yeah, that Overlord didn't take us too long.
No,
But I will warn, Overlord is a very dark story. Do not.
do not show kids it. But I've heard that it's also made for D&D fans.
I can see the appeal for D&D fans. I can see the appeal.
And plus, you can definitely tell the voice actors love the show.
Oh, they had a blast. You could just tell.
Like Chris Guerrero, who voices Einzogong, or Elizabeth Maxwell. She enjoys playing Albedo. Like the first time I met her, I brought her my copy of season 1 for this time. She was so happy to see that. And the next couple time I saw her, one I brought for her because she was in the first season for Another World with My Smartphone, where she played a talking turtle named Coco.
That's right. She was in season 1 of In Another World Smartphone.
She's in season 2 as well. She plays the same character. And then the last time I saw her, I got her to sign my copy of That Summer Crimson Slime season 2 because she voices Snake Woman, Abbas, which I told her spoiler for, and she was so happy to hear this because the character basically gets a relationship with Benny Maru. I'm like, you lucky guy to get this beautiful woman. And then another girl who apparently is in love with him too. Even she's a little bit younger. And apparently that her father is someone he knew. Of course, she had no idea she existed. And then all of a sudden, he points out, now you want me to download father for a girl you just met? I think she must be about, well, they don't say how old she is in the show because she appears in season 3, but she's like, her whole thing is that she and Abbas are basically love rivals for Benny Maru's love. I'm like, and she's like, let the games begin.
Yeah.
And what happens with Alicia happens in book 15, which I don't think they'll adapt it for season 4 for that one because the last season went to book 9.
Probably not. Probably not. Depends on how far. And then the games, the actual visual novel for ReZero, it's a mess to get through, but it's worth it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to season 4 because last season I had some problems with it. One, they first said the season, it's going to be 30 episodes, and like, no, it's not 30. It's actually 16, but split out for 2 courses for 8 episodes. And apparently it came out that one of the episodes, 10th episode of the season, took 18 months to work on. I've never heard an anime episode taking that long.
No, production on a seasonal anime usually takes up about 6 to 8 months, never a year and a half.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Now, I don't mind between seasonal anime. We wait like 1 year or 2 years. That's fine. Or 3 is kind of pushed. Anything more than that is like, really? We're waiting this long for another season? Like with Devil's Part-Timer. 9 years.
Now, I did finish that one a year before last. It's all right. The ending depends how far you want to go with the shipping, but it ended all right. I had fun with it.
The Devil's Part-Timer, I watched it last year from when I was bench watching it. It's a good anime.
It's a good anime.
Yeah, and you have someone voicing a cute little girl because that's what she does. Either it's a cute little girl or it's a woman with who looks very mature. This looks she's actually quite younger. Best I describe. You know what I mean, right?
I know what you mean. I'm not going to risk getting demonetized, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, and she always does that for some reason. Like I gave you some examples. Toru. Her character from How Not to Summon Demon Lord.
Yep.
Her character from 100 Girlfriends.
Yep.
I actually thought that the girl who was the love interest in the main character, I thought she was Sarah. That was Tia Ballard.
No, I was not.
Like,
I
this
was
character's personality reminds me a lot of what Sarah someone I would do, but no, it's Tia Ballard. I was quite surprised about that.
indeed.
Yeah, but her little girl is always going to be so cute. And I even asked this to Bray Knickerbocker when she first saw Philo. Did she thought she was cute when she first saw her? She says, yes, she thought she was cute.
But back to this. Yeah, the Ryu Matsubi fight is dragged out, but all in all, you at least got the payoff with the MS. You at least get some payoff here. And Tevia says, question, remind, how do you guys feel about Invincible Season 3? Because for me, I thought it was amazing. I read the original comic when I was a kid.
I did. I read it a while ago, several years ago. I basically started reading when during the last few years the book. I had met the artist who did the majority of the book, Ryan Otley, great guy to me in person. I have not seen the show. I heard the show is really good. I just haven't a chance to watch it. I know I actually have Amazon Prime, which I know that's where it's on, but I just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah,
I did hear they adapted an issue of Marvel Team Up where they swapped out Spider-Man with different character.
yeah, because a licensing fee for a TV show is a lot more expensive for a licensing fee for a couple of pages in a comic book issue.
But technically, look at them. Yeah, that's Spider-Man Dr. Octopus in a show based on an Image comic.
Well, kind of, sort of. Yeah, but you also got to look at the legalization with like Sony having the movie rights and their pact with Marvel. And even the Spawn cameo got swapped out because McFarlane has exclusive rights to Spawn. It just, you already have celebrity casting. It just would have ate up the budget, so it really wasn't worth the money.
Did they keep in the cameo by Witchblade and Savage Dragon?
I don't think so. At least from the clips I've seen, I don't think so. But I wouldn't be surprised if they did.
I wouldn't think that in the case of Witchblade, I don't think Mark Spencer would mind if his character guy came in the show because he created Witchblade.
Wait, but once she transferred over to Marvel, or am I thinking of another character?
That was Angela.
Oh, thank you.
A character who was doing nothing. Her most prominent thing at Marvel is that she had 2 ongoing series, had a couple different love interests, was a member of the Guardians of the Galaxy, being Thor, her sister, and not much else.
Okay. But yeah, let us know if you guys actually want us to do a comic blaze or just a series review on Invincible, and we just react season by season. Let us know if you guys want that.
Did you know Angela did appear on one of the Marvel cartoons?
Which one?
I heard she appeared on remember the Guardians of the Galaxy. I think it was either in the show itself, Guardians of the Galaxy, or it was Avengers Assemble.
Wait, Earth's Mightiest Heroes or the soft reboot they did for MCU Synergy?
Avengers Assemble.
Okay.
I'm still part of it. I don't think the show was bad. I've heard later on this guy did basically like try to do the continuity thing. Apparently, after season 4 of the show's continuity gets all mixed up because of the Guardians having to go with the movie looks for reasons.
Yeah, more and Earth's Mightiest Heroes was kind of already branching into its own thing. It was a solid show. I mean, it was no DC, it was no Justice League or Justice League Unlimited or anything like that. But Earth's Mightiest Heroes was a great show for kids coming up in the 2000s.
Yes, and it's part of the Yosverse, which is it has that one, Wolverine the X-Men, Spectacular Spider-Man. Even though I don't know if Chris Joe's working on that one or not, but they count part of that one, and the Thor versus Wolverine and the Thor versus Hulk and Hulk versus Wolverine. They count those movies as part of that canon.
You're not annoying at all, Tevi. I just hadn't had time to open an opportunity in my schedule, but I will DM you as soon as I have availability.
I do have a couple of 2 Multiverse movies. I still haven't a chance to watch them. I'm currently on break from Tokuger. I might now get a chance to watch them.
Maybe. Now, I did realize this is now the 5th. We might as well bring this up now since we moved on from the main chapters. But the Power Rangers rights going back to Disney, is it just like the
shared?
Reboot? Oh, it's shared. Okay. I just wanted.
I'm like, why do we have to reboot Power Rangers? Why not just adapt one of their Sentai? There's plenty of Sentai they could adapt. Tokuger's a good one, but no, they rather stick with the same template for 20 plus years. High school kids recruited part of an organization. instead of, how about have the characters not be in high school? How about college? That's still kind of school.
Yeah, I mean, look, me personally, at least from what I've seen, go ahead. At least from what I've seen of the rumors, I think this was originally supposed to go to Netflix, then it kind of ended up becoming a Cape Crusader type situation. Then ended up becoming a Cape Crusader type situation. Then the show ended up getting thrown around, and then Disney ended up picking it up. But needless to say, I mean, yeah, at least the series is continuing at least in some way. I wouldn't mind them sticking to adapting Sentai footage, but it is what it is. But it is what it is. And while we're waiting for Nick to come back, all right, I don't see why they're rebooting it again. Your guess is as good as mine, Tevye, because I'm pretty sure they were very adamant on ending it after Cosmic Fury, because even Hasbro was done with them at that point. Yeah, this sounds like a bad idea in my opinion. Where did Nick go? Technical difficulties, Tevye. Nick will be back momentarily. But yeah, I briefly wanted to mention that. If I were to predict if they do anything with the Power Rangers reboot, I would suggest them take elements from the Boom Studios comics because those were pretty good. And they even add like kind of a modern spin on MMPR. But me personally, if it were up to me, I would still continue with the Sentai adaptation and try to add more mature aspects rather than trying to copy the MMPR formula. Because they spent the latter half of the 2010s trying to lightning striking the bottle twice and revitalizing using MMPR, and it just led to a residual decline. And don't get me started on the collector's market because that pretty much ballooned after, I'm gonna be honest, about a decade.
Some of the stuff that they could adapt to Power Rangers. From what I heard from behind the scenes, the writers were very restricted. They were discouraged for serialization. I'm like, why? If you're going to build up to something, why not keep it serialized? An example, Ninja Steel. Apparently, they couldn't do much ninja stuff in the show. What you saw from the show, that's all they were allowed to do. I get the fact, yeah, it's a kid's show, but they could do a little more than just, put on some disguises and just run around. Like, that's not all ninjas freaking do. Or the fact that when Hasbro took over, there was still some restriction, but not a lot. Apparently, when it got to Netflix, they had no restriction what they can do with on Netflix. And I still point out that Cosmic Fury should not have been 8 episodes. It should have been longer.
No, that was a production nightmare. I don't know who legitimated Cosmic Fury being 8 episodes, but that was a production nightmare from what my sources told me.
Yeah, and David Yost, he enjoyed being on Cosmic Fury, but I'm sure he probably didn't like the fact it was only 8 episodes.
Yeah, but you already had the whole Dino Fury Blue Ranger. He had scheduling contracts with another production. He had with another production at the time, and not to mention Lord Draken. Okay, I get where you're coming from, Tevye, but it just depends on what Toei will let them get away with. That's really all.
Draken, I believe, is an original character created by Boom Studios.
He is, but you also got to look at the legality stuff because it is a branch off of Super Sentai and localization.
And plus, also, there's the problem with the fact that he, in the comics, is Tommy. And technically, we can't do that now because Jason Riggs passing, unless we have an actor who just happened to look like him, claim be Tommy, because that was Tommy. Despite the fact, you look at the way the artwork, the way it was drawn, it looked like his brother Eric. You notice that?
He did. Who tragically passed away from unaliving in 97, 98, I want to say.
Yeah, and he actually appeared on the show for a few episodes. His actual real life brother.
Yep.
And then he passed away. Well, and here's the thing: his brother kind of looked like Dave, except his face is a bit more puffier than Jason Franks. He appeared during Zeo.
Yeah, he. I don't remember the exact episode, but I know it was before the Gold Ranger arc, like a couple episodes before.
Yeah, and apparently that was his favorite. Jason Franks said it was from a business perspective. His favorite episode was when he slept during an episode of Down Thunder. And I have seen Alba Ranger. That show was fun.
Yeah, Alba Ranger is pretty solid. It's a solid adaptation. Okay, this was a very brief period in the series where the Sentai and the actual Power Ranger season were being adapted around the same, were in production around the same time.
And they thought that Serrano Ranger was an actual Ranger, except it was just a mauve for the Red Ranger.
Yeah, that led to a kind of a red herring with Devin, but we both know that wasn't going to go anywhere.
And someone pointed this out though, the one who's the reporter,
Kat, I believe her name was Catherine, something like that.
She's played the same actress who played one of the twins from Ninja Storm.
Ninja Storm. Yep, she came back for that.
I think she played the shorter one.
Yeah, she did. The shorter one. She did.
Here's the thing. It's been over 20 years. A lot of the villains from some of these shows, I've completely forgot their names. I remember the names of some of the Rangers. There's Tori, who was the Blue Ranger, Dustin, the Yellow Ranger. I'm trying to remember what the name of the Red Ranger was.
Shane.
Of course, Sally Poy's actor passed away. He, of course, had his own personal issues before he passed away. And I think he's technically the first Red Ranger passed away because he passed before Jason and Frank did. And I didn't know this until he passed away. He was Samoan. He was the very first Samoan Red Ranger and the only one.
Pretty much.
The only reason I couldn't tell because of New Zealand.
Yes. He did not, the actor did not show his accent much on set. You wouldn't be able to tell.
Black. By look, I thought he was black. I didn't know he was Samoan.
You just wouldn't be able to tell by his voice alone.
Yeah. And plus, also, if anyone's seen Hurricaneer, like that one's fun too. It's similar, but does very different storylines what Ninja Storm did.
Yep.
But you watch it like, damn, the actors in the show are hot because they have the Blue Rangers beautiful and the two villains, like such beautiful women. Like, wow.
And the Wind Ranger Thunder Ranger rivalry was very dragged out in Hurricane. It took up half the season.
Yeah, it did.
It was very
and
dragged
also,
out.
Remember Ninja Storm, they had it where Tori and I think it was Blake, one of the Thunder Rangers?
Yeah, Hunter and Blake.
Yeah, Hunter Blake. They sort of became a semi-couple in the show.
Wait.
Where they kind of like were...
Tori and Blake. Okay.
Yeah, Tori and Blake.
Okay.
In the Sentai, they were a couple. And then randomly off screen, they broke up. And then she married a no-name guy and had a kid. The character. This was revealed in the Hero Mama special, where she's hanging out with, get this, she's hanging out with one of the Magi Rangers. I believe it was Blue. And she's hanging out, I believe, with Deca Yellow. And the only reason why they're all there because they're all moms. And I'm like, okay. I thought it was interesting. This thing was a prologue to one of the Space Ghost movies, but it technically doesn't have anything. It's just a small standalone special featuring 3 actors that just happen to be in the show. If you see a J Heat, you'd be like, this is okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a glorified play date, but hey, it's good to see former Sentai actresses again.
Yes. And speaking of those, basically, well, if you watch the anime, the Red Ranger as the Venture becomes Venture of the World, his team, with the captures of him, are all voiced by Sentai actors. Blue is voiced by Mega Blue from Mega Ranger.
Okay.
Green is the Blue Kaka Ranger.
Okay.
Yellow, Pink Deca Ranger.
I thought I recognized her voice.
Yes. Pink, Yellow Buster. Who also cameo in the show. In episode 8, they had this episode featuring all these Sentai cameos. The most obvious one was Red Buster and Blue Buster. I was like, what? What are you guys doing here? And in the last episode, they debuted the Silver Ranger. And she's voiced by another Yellow Ranger. You might be thinking, which one? Gokai Yellow. who's also a voice actress.
Uh,
I looked up, like, really? That's her?
but yeah,
They have a show where it's like they imply the fact that Red had a thing for her. They refer to her as, oh, big bosom tomboy. I'm like, what? They just met, and somehow that he somehow was in love with her. She looked to me like maybe a few years older than he is. And then, well, what happens in the show, and they had this really cool post-credit scene where they have, that's where our mechs were going. And then they had New Ranger, who was a friend of theirs, was previously one of the who apparently was turning one of the monsters constantly because their organization of their version of Sentai were called the Relationship Elders. Like, what? And the whole show is built upon bonds. And yeah, it was so obvious it's take on Super Sentai. Heck, they had a character show toward the end of the show who I think is a play on Kamen Rider, given the fact she rides a motorcycle. And her code name is Ahem. And she's an elf. And this. You think elf, tropical forest, desert, and they live in giant cactuses. All because the Demon Queen was so upset she got beaten that she turned a rainforest into a desert. She was that petty.
oh man, but yeah, we definitely need to do a review on that.
Because that show was a lot of fun, especially all of the Sentai references, and the fact that it's like so much a play in Sentai. Like they had the famous cannon in the show. It was like, oh, power by bonds. And I think like, wow, this reminds me a lot of the 80s show era cannons where they're so freaking huge and they're heavy. Design-wise, it looked a lot like the one-time cannon used in the 30th anniversary movie, used by powered by all the powers of the Super Sentai. Except it had a V in the front. And it was by these handles, and it'd be fired by 5 people.
But yeah, on a rewatch, I would just skip Super Mega Force altogether on a power and rejog. Just go straight to Gokaiger. It's a much better story, way better fan service, just a better story in general. I mean, Mega Force was a mess.
Yeah, because Zach was more just doing this than doing Ghost Ager. Where his thing is he found the Angel plot boring. I didn't think Angel was boring. That was interesting.
I'll admit
a couple times. It's not bad. Ghost Ager's not bad of a Sentai.
No, it's just mid. I mean, especially compared to more popular Sentai seasons.
And it's the first one that happened where, like, first one is Bokenj to have, like, 3 factions, except the thing is, they're not existing all at the same time. They're on for, like, a small number of episodes, get all but one to get killed off, then the new one. There's only one guy there the whole time, and that's Brock's counterpart. And I thought the best faction was the last one they had, the Mantis Empire. Because I love the villain's look. He has this awesome... In Power Rangers, this guy was the Messenger. Who appeared for 1 episode. And Sentai counterpart appeared for, I think it was like about 5 or 6. I love their base, too. It's like an underwater base. Compared to the other 2, where the first one was a spaceship, and the second one was a cave.
But yeah, we got way off topic. But I think this is a good time to call it, man. Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
None that I can think of. Looking forward to the next chapter, which will come out next month. Let's hope basically that we're not waiting halfway through the chapter to follow up with this, because I've noticed that sometimes when they do these cliffhangers, we have to wait like half of the chapter to get a resolution on the cliffhanger. That happened recently with One Piece, where we had this really awesome cliffhanger, and then we had to wait until halfway through the chapter to get a resolution on that.
It'd be like that sometimes. Nothing else comes to mind right now. Chapter 20 was really the highlight for me out of the 3 we've covered. Out of the 3 we covered, because
I think overall, I think Sadara is I believe the 5th Uchiha member to get the manga check, because Monitor had it. Sasuke, Itachi, Obito, I think had it too.
Fukaku's implied to have it in the light novels, but it was never explicitly shown.
Yeah, and plus also the Margaret Sugar is a very dangerous Shuriken, and it can also be very damaging to the person's eyes. because overuse causes it to they show us
Blindness.
anime. Yeah, it blindness. Also, it also causes a little bit of bleeding, and also it can one of its abilities is that it can cause black fire and it can burn anything it wants to. And the only way it can stop is if the user tells it to stop.
Amaterasu. But yes. Needless to say, this could really go. That's a separate video in of itself. Whether or not Sakura is going to learn the 100 healings from Sakura, or she's going to take another pair of Sharingan from the Shin clones. That's a separate video in of itself.
Mhm.
But yeah, remains to be seen. Otherwise, these were a great set of chapters. Nick, thank you always for coming on to the show. Anything you would like to promote before we wrap up?
Like I said before, I'm on break from Tokuja. I'm gonna hopefully do some anime videos this week because after I go through Blue Exorcist, I don't have a new anime until like Friday with Dragon Ball Daima. So basically, I have like 4 free days of no new anime. So I'm probably gonna go through the. My plan is to go through some more of the dub for One Piece because recently, last week they just caught up with the last episode aired.
Nice. As for me, I recently got my Mass Effect Mass Effect and Mass Effect Andromeda videos uploaded. I also do playthroughs on Dragon Age and Dragon Ball Sparking Zero when I can. Also, stay tuned this Wednesday for a continuation of the Dragon Ball Daima reviews with Taladia Plays. Hopefully, if Nick is available, I can get him on the show for that one as well. But we'll let you know in the foreseeable future.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, guys,
I am watching him.
Oh, thank you, Nick. Thank you.
Yes, I didn't watch the stream, but I haven't watched the anime.
Of course,
for them, because it's not because they're trying to get other stuff done. I just don't get a chance to watch it. Sadly.
Hey man, happens to the best of us, man. I'm just glad you came onto the show.
Yep.
But like, comment, subscribe, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Also, please be sure to subscribe to Nick Lenz as well. He just reached 400. Great guy.
We're at 406 right now.
Oh, 406. All the more reason. But hey, congratulations, man. You're a beloved co-host. I couldn't ask for one of the best guys in the channel. But like, comment, subscribe, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Flame off.